I'm just a bill, yes I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee, but I know I'll be along. Maybe after I hope and pray that I'll be, but today I'm
Good morning. This is Bill Scher on the Liberal Oasis radio show, and welcome to autumn in full swing. May not feel like autumn, but at least it's looking a little like autumn. Perhaps today you'll be heading to the South Hadley Fall Festival at the Second Baptist Church, or the Haydenville Fall Fair at the Haydenville Congregational Church, perhaps the Native American powwow at the Springfield Museums. Maybe if you have the time, you can hop on a plane to Washington, D.C., because later this afternoon, key conservative and religious leaders will continue discussing a mass defection from the Republican Party if Rudy Giuliani becomes the nominee. We'll be talking about that later with Steve Bennin from the carpetbaggerreport.com. But before then, there's some interesting poll data that I don't think has gotten a lot of attention. I talked about on LiberalOasis.com earlier this week, where you can also catch this show on audio and video. The question was, who would you definitely not vote for president? And everyone assumes that Hillary Clinton is the worst offender here, that the majority of the country would not vote for her under any circumstances. But here's the actual data. This is who would not vote for a certain candidate under any circumstances. Barack Obama, 39%. Hillary Clinton, 41%. John Edwards, 43%. Giuliani, 44%. John McCain, 45%. Fred Thompson, 54%. Massachusetts' own Mitt Romney, 57%. So Hillary Clinton is no more polarizing than the other Democrats, less polarizing than every other Republican. In fact, every Dem is less polarizing than every Republican, even the sainted Rudy Giuliani and John McCain. You never hear conversation of, can Giuliani win? Or can John McCain win? Or can Fred Thompson win nationally in a general? You only hear that question about Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. But the polls do not bear that out. Now, why is it that every Republican is starting off in worse shape than every Democrat? I submit to you it might be because of things like the state children's health insurance program being vetoed in the House, so the veto being sustained in the House this week. Now, here is a program that has worked. It is a government program led by states. It has covered 6 million kids over the last 10 years. It has lowered the rates of uninsured kids while the healthcare crisis has gotten worse for adults. It has fought the tide of the crisis. And that's why Democrats and Republican voters alike, huge numbers, 72%, 81%, depending on the poll you look at. Sometimes it goes to the mid-60s when you bring up all the different arguments, but still 65% is a pretty solid number, saying we want to support and expand this program. Yet Bush vetoes it. You had 44 Republicans join almost every Democrat in supporting it this week, but still not two-thirds. The veto gets sustained, and you have the Republican Party, the conservative movement, looking like they don't want to address a serious problem and lacking all sorts of compassion that they claim to possess when Bush first ran for office in 2000. The National Review, the big conservative magazine, tried to soothe, because there are a lot of Republicans that are nervous about this. They're worried going to an election seeming like they're against kids. They tried to soothe Republicans to say, you know, we're still in a good position here because Democrats, they want this awful universal health care, and the public doesn't want that. So they're going to overreach, and we're in a great position to beat them on this issue come 2008. But guess what? Not only do polls show that 70 to 80% of the country, majorities of Republicans and Democrats, want children's health insurance expanded, but polls also show that 64% of the country wants our government, our federal government, to guarantee health insurance for everybody. Nearly half of Republicans are willing to pay more in taxes for that. So they are fundamentally out of step with where the country is at. And while they may have won the battle this week in denying millions more children access to health insurance, and millions more kids are going to suffer and have their health at risk because of this act, they have not won the battle of public opinion. They are not in a strong position on this issue going forward. And it's our job to keep issues like this in front of people's eyes, above the fold in your newspapers, keep the intensity up so we can actually build a mandate for real lasting change come 2008. So that's what I think is the big issue this week domestically. Foreign policy-wise, the big issue has been the return of former Prime Minister Bhutto to her native Pakistan. Millions greeting her in celebration. The most popular politician in that country right now, far more popular than their dictator Pervez Musharraf. Yet she was greeted with a bomb attack that has killed over 100 people and has now made Pakistan even more turbulent than it has been. Now, Pakistan's problems are long-standing, but let's not ignore the role of the Bush administration in this. They have not been on the side of actual democracy at any stage of their term. They have been propping up the dictator Musharraf this whole time. Seeing that he is weak, they have tried to broker a deal that has let Bhutto back in the country so the two of them could share power. But that is not democracy. And Bhutto is seen as relatively more democratic than Musharraf. But if you read a very good column by Amy Willinson at the HuffingtonPost.com today, she notes that Bhutto may talk a game about democracy, but she still envisions a democratic situation where she's at the top. And she is by no means unique in that attitude. It is not a rare circumstance among those who have tasted power before. Our job, if we're going to be serious about promoting democracy and serious about how democracy can bring long-term stability, we cannot be picking favorites. We cannot be trying to cherry pick and decide who leads other countries. It was right to get Bhutto back in the country. She certainly deserves to be there and deserves to run for office. But as the New York Times editorial page pointed out yesterday, her first step should be to insist that parliamentary elections are open to all, including her longtime rival Nawaz Sharif, another former prime minister who has been exiled from the country, who tried to return earlier this year and was booted back out again. Now, he's no great shakes either, don't get me wrong. Again, it's not about picking favorites. It's about real democracy and real choices. The Bush administration's attitude has been picking the people we like, and it's certainly not been to get bin Laden, because we know that hasn't happened. It has just been to keep our favorites in charge. And that contributes to this kind of instability that we're seeing today. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking to Steve Bannon from the CarpetbaggerReport.com. This is Bill Scher on the Liberal Oasis radio show every Saturday here at WHMP at 10 a.m. News, information, and the arts.